Hi everyone! If you're new here, I'm Allen with Earthglow, and this channel is all about sharing the joy of candle making. Today's video is a sort of special edition of Fragrance Favorites, where I'm going to be talking about my favorite coffee scents of all time. And I don't mean like cinnamon bun or chai latte type fragrances. I strictly mean fragrances that are supposed to smell like coffee beans, like fresh brewed coffee, like Irish cream coffee, like espresso, that type of coffee, cappuccino. So this is a very select category, and because of that, there's only going to be 3 places instead of 5 like normally in the Fragrance Favorite series. But anyways, if this is something that you're interested in, then consider subscribing. I am always posting candle related business content, and fragrance videos are my absolute favorite to film. But anyways, let's get right into today's video, and I hope that you enjoy. And before we get started, as I always say with these fragrance videos, there is going to always be the chance that a fragrance that I really like, you might not like, and a fragrance that you really like, I might have on my fails list. And there's always the chance of this because fragrance is just highly subjective. But anyways, let's get right into these. So, by the way, this is kind of a category that I'm really passionate about. For a while, when I first started making candles, I kind of started on the quest for trying out lots of coffee fragrances and figuring out which coffee fragrances I really liked. And my original goal was actually to find a really good coffee fragrance for cold processed soap. And I also wanted one that worked really well in candles, but I wanted a single fragrance that worked really well in candles and cold processed soaps. And I think that I found that, but I also found 2 other really good fragrances that obviously I really like, and I put in my 2nd and 3rd position. So starting off with number 3, we have Irish Cream Coffee by the Flaming Candle. Now, this fragrance is one that is in my Winter Wonderland collection, and I do just sell it as Irish Cream Coffee, just plain Jane Irish Cream Coffee, because to me the name is perfectly descriptive of the fragrance. You do definitely get that little bit of sparkle to it, that cream, that liqueur that you typically smell, that you typically would taste when you have like coffee mixed with Baileys, is kind of how I describe it. If any of you have tried that, let me know. But yeah, it's like a coffee plus a cream liqueur, and I'm not Irish at all, so I really don't think that I have the best definition of what Irish cream coffee should smell like. But personally, I am a really big fan of cream liqueurs in my coffees, especially around the holiday time, and this is just quintessential cream liqueur coffee. You definitely get those notes. I would say it's kind of like mostly coffee, like 80% fresh coffee grounds, 20% cream liqueur, and it does have what I would consider a decent hot throw. I would not consider this one an exceptional hot throw. My number 2 and number 1 positions are both an exceptional hot throw, by the way, in 464 soy is how I have tested them. And so if you do use like a paraffin or a parasoy, you may get a better hot throw with those. But yeah, this is a definitely special one to have around the holidays. And you could have it in a year-round collection, I think, but I do typically bring this into my Winter Wonderland collection, and this one does take my number 3 spot. In my number 2 spot, we have Fresh Coffee by Candle Science. And this fragrance, if you're looking for a really strong coffee fragrance that is a true to life coffee bean, I would highly recommend this Fresh Coffee. And this one is so strong that when I make this into my 8-ounce tin, 6-ounce candles, I can have the lid closed on it, and my customers will say that they can smell the candle when they open their box with the lid totally closed. So this one I would consider an exceptional thrower. This one can fill a room with a pretty small candle with 464 soy, and it is a true to life coffee. My only regret about this fragrance is that some people may complain that it is too strong, so So, I mean, you can just use it at a less strength, or you can always mix it with some of the other fragrances that we're gonna talk about, or even with the Irish cream. I haven't tried that myself, but I'll bet you that you could kind of boost that one in terms of the scent throw a little bit if you did mix in some of this fresh coffee from Candle Science. But my regret about this fragrance is that you cannot use it in cold processed soap, and that is a real shame to me. So I am hoping that Candle Science will revise this one so that it is soap safe, because that's so important to a lot of people. Coffee is a really loved scent for those of us who make and purchase cold processed soaps. So that one does take my number 2 position for my favorite coffee fragrance of all time. And in my number 1 position, I actually have nothing in tangible form to show today because I'm all out of the fragrance. But my number 1 coffee fragrance, hands down, is Espresso by Brambleberry. And I used all of it up a few months ago, so I should have kept the bottle just to show you all. But yeah, this one is hands down my favorite coffee fragrance of all time. It is a beautiful standalone espresso bean fragrance. It is different than a coffee bean. It has slightly richer, almost like velvety, chocolatey tone to it, and I would consider it a true to life espresso as someone who drinks Italian espresso on a daily basis and who grinds, espresso beans myself. I'm a real coffee fanatic, especially an espresso fanatic, and I would consider that a true to life espresso fragrance. And it is also soap safe. And so if you like to make those cold processed soaps with the coffee beans on top, I think that Espresso by Brambleberry is absolutely perfect for that. And it has a phenomenal throw in 464 soy. I actually sold this one in my candle line several years ago. I wanna say 3 years back as my Love You a Latte candle. And I did mix it with, I wanna say, I think I mixed it with sugar cookie and hazelnut latte. I wanna say. But yeah, I'll put the recipe for that one that I used up in the description box, and if any of you are curious, because it was a really special candle, and I do plan to have that one come back. But yeah, Brambleberry's Espresso, hands down, takes my number 1 position for my favorite coffee fragrance of all time. And for the honorable mentions today, I do just have 2 fragrances. And the first of those is Coffee House by The Flaming Candle. The reason that this one only gets an honorable mention from me, I know a lot of people do think that this is the best coffee fragrance that they have smelled, but I am just able to give it an honorable mention personally because I think that this fragrance smells more like a caramel latte than an actual coffee bean. And to me, when I purchased this fragrance, I was hoping for something that had more of the fresh coffee aesthetic like I get from the Candle Science, or the espresso aesthetic like I get from the Brambleberry. And this one to me is more of a kind of caramel latte type of a scent, and it doesn't have the HT that I'm really looking for in 464 soy. So I would only be able to give this one an honorable mention. And the next honorable mention goes to Hazelnut Coffee by Candle Science. And Hazelnut Coffee is a nice fragrance. You definitely get a lot of the hazelnut. I have made this one into candles as well as cold processed soaps, and I will say that my customers who purchase my cold processed soaps with this scent absolutely raved about them. I wanna say a shea and coconut butter cold processed soap, and I did put some of the actual coffee beans ground up in the soap, and I can post my soap recipe if any of you are curious. Just leave me a comment. Or I can actually just put my recipe in the description box that I use to make my hazelnut coffee cold processed soaps. But yeah, so this one is soap safe up to 6%, and this one does not seem to accelerate trace at all, at least for me personally. I didn't have any separation, discoloration. Well, I would say it had discoloration, mild discoloration, but that's gonna be very typical of a lot of these coffee fragrances. And a lot of people want that anyways when they're making cold processed soaps. It's kind of desirable desirable. But yeah, no separation, no acceleration of trace, and yeah, I just wasn't totally thrilled with this fragrance. I was hoping for something, again, more like the fresh coffee or the Brambleberry Espresso, and but this is my favorite Candle Science coffee fragrance to use in cold processed soap if I'm not ordering from Brambleberry. And for the fails, I do just have one fragrance, but I would consider it a royal fail for me personally. And this one is Cappuccino Espresso by the Flaming Candle. Now, this fragrance to me, it almost reminds me of a Yankee Candle fragrance that I actually used to really like as a little kid. I think they had some sort of a cappuccino fragrance that I did really enjoy, but to me personally, this fragrance, it just smells very artificial, kind of powdery almost, kind of like if you like chocolate fudge by Candle Science, you may really enjoy this. I think that it does have a lot of chocolate notes in it, which are sort of aesthetically pleasing, I think, in a coffee fragrance, but not powdery chocolate notes. And with this Cappuccino Espresso by the Flaming Candle, I do tend to get a lot of powdery sort of chocolate notes. So that's why this one, for me, is an absolute fail, and I would not want to make and sell candles with it. Well, anyways, that is all for today's video, and I know this was a very short one, but comment down below if you did enjoy this and if you'd like me to do more short categories like the coffee fragrances that I did, because I'm happy to do other very select categories of fragrances if this is something that you all are interested in. Definitely leave me a comment down below and I will think of some more categories and add them to the list just for these kind of mini editions of fragrance favorites. But anyways, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did like it, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Just tap the notification bell so that you don't miss anything from me. And thank you so much for watching this video, and please leave me a comment below if there are any coffee fragrances that you really like that you think that I might like, and if there are any coffee fragrances that you would like me to purchase and try out, because I'm always interested in trying out new fragrances. But anyways, that is all for this video, and thank you so much for watching, and happy candle making.